Hi, Taylor T. Carlson here, and we're going back, way back in the world of classic cinema today, all the way back to the silent era. We're looking at the Paramount Presents release of The Sheik, the classic silent film starring Rudolph Valentino. Paramount Presents, I don't think, has gone back any farther in time with one of their releases than this one, a silent movie originally released in the year 1921. We'll unbox this release, I'll share some opinions about the movie, and let you know if I recommend the package or not. I love this, just old school silent movie style artwork there. They really did a good job there. There's our spine text. This is number 25 in the Paramount Presents line, which continues to grow. Most of these releases are just standard Blu-ray discs, although there are a handful of 4Ks that have gotten this treatment as well. I actually did a review for The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, which was released as part of this series, which came with both a 4K and a Blu-ray. It does have the fold-open here, which has the classic movie poster. I love those old school movie posters. That looks beautiful. I'll take this out. In here, you pretty much have the same thing on the packaging inside. Surprisingly, there actually is a digital copy included, which kind of surprised me, being this is an older silent film. I don't know if I've ever actually bought a silent film before and gotten a code before, so that's very cool. On the back here, they got an ad for some other classic films that Paramount has reissued. Here's our disc. We pop this off, and beautiful artwork and screenshots in the back there. And there is a passage here from Leslie Midkiff Debauch. She's in the bonus feature that we'll talk about later. But the quote she has is as follows. Audiences were clearly drawn to Valentino's eyes. His eyes do those things that are kind of unique to Valentino. He is mesmerizing. The Sheik is set, of course, in the Middle East. Rudolph Valentino plays the title character. A wealthy woman on holiday in the Middle East from England becomes captivated with the Arabian way of life and how she's initially barred from a casino that only Arabs are allowed to enter. She sneaks in and, of course, is promptly thrown out by the Sheik, but he's immediately won over by just how daring this woman is. And it's not long before she goes on a horse trip and she's kidnapped by this man, forced into his way of life to become his lover. But unbeknownst to the two of them, there's a number of raiders that are attacking, making this environment even more dangerous. And when she's taken by the raiders, of course, it's up to the Sheik to rescue her. Now, this is in many ways a very dated film. There's some very old Arabian, Middle Eastern stereotypes in this movie that certainly would not fly today. Those certainly don't detract from my enjoyment of the film, but I always give the disclaimer just as sort of a heads up to anyone who might be checking out the movie. The casting, of course, is done very well. Watching silent films is a unique experience because these actors and actresses don't have a voice to use, so they really have to somewhat exaggerate their acting to make their performances believable. And that makes it really interesting to go back and rediscover silent films, which are largely a lost art form. I actually heard somewhere once in some old commercial that like over 90% of silent movies have been lost because they weren't properly preserved. I don't know how true that is, but if so, it's truly a shame. But I'm glad to see The Sheik is one that has survived and, of course, has been remastered and kept alive over the years. The movie clocks in at just over 1 hour. It's not long at all, and thanks to that, of course, it just flies by, but despite that, in the relatively limited runtime, it's a very full, very fulfilling story. I mean, not everything about the movie works perfectly, and it certainly shows its age in some moments, but overall, and as much as I hate to admit it, being a film buff and critic, I'd never even seen this movie before I bought this release over at Zia Records here in Vegas, and I've really been missing out because this movie is a lot of fun to watch, and there certainly are some great performances, amazing set pieces, great sequences. There's even a supporting part from Adolphe Menjot, who of course would later go on to star in one of my favorite Stanley Kubrick films, Paths of Glory. How does the picture quality on this disc fare? You got to take into consideration silent films. Not many of them have survived, and the few that have survived are in very rough shape. The ones that are in rough shape have been, in a lot of cases, preserved and remastered to the best of the filmmakers and restoration artists' skill and so forth without tampering with the picture quality or doing anything that would harm the level of detail that's in the natural filmic look. The Sheik looks very good. I mean, again, keep your expectations in check because there are going to be some pretty, heavily rough-looking sequences. But there were a lot of scenes that opened up quite a bit of fine object detail. And overall, as far as silent film transfers go, I do think this is one of the better ones. Could it look a little better than this? Probably. But overall, I'm not at all disappointed with what we get here. And I think that the movie has been preserved and restored to the best of the film studio's abilities. It is another worthy addition to the Paramount Plus line. We only get one bonus feature on here, which is a brief featurette that only goes about 15 minutes. It's entitled Desert Heat, and it features Professor Leslie Midkiff DeBotch. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. She's the one who had the quotation that was in the booklet I just showed you. And that is the only feature on here, but it is a nice one, and it's certainly a worthwhile watch for any fan of the film. Are you a fan of Rudolph Valentino? Is The Sheik one of your favorite films? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to my channel for more content because I'm always posting new videos. And make sure you give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. See you next time.